What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great Saturday. We talked a little bit earlier live about training camp day 13. Getting closer and closer, baby. 22 days away from game one. Let's go. 10 days left until cut down period. Only one preseason game remains. So a lot of excitement in the air, ladies and gentlemen, but a lot of moves were also made. Had a lot of injuries, things that happened, guys that weren't going to make the roster being let go. So we're going to talk about all of those things today. Now, this is not a live video, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you know one of these players. You watched them in college. You've got further thoughts than I do. Whatever is on your mind, I would love to hear it, how you feel about the additions in general. But we'll look at the roster moves. Then we'll take a look at those players, their biostats. Then we'll look at the updated positions and then finish it off with the updated depth chart. So appreciate each and every one of you tuning in here, but let's get rocking and rolling here with the Eagles roster moves for today. And they added 5 players and also let go of 5 players. So you can see, they signed 2 linebackers here and then brought in 3 defensive tackles. And then they waived with the injury designation. I've explained this before, they will either revert back to IR if someone doesn't claim them, or, they'll be released once they're on IR. A lot of things could happen here, but again, they'll go back to the IR once they go through the waiver process here. So that's the difference there for Tyree Cleveland, Noah Ellis, and Zach McPhearson, looking like, their seasons could be done for here. But, hey, maybe they get healthy, get released, go elsewhere. But then you see waived Ty Zentner, just not doing anything here. He was given an opportunity the entire game. He looked like complete garbage. So we talked about it, a little scared there. We'll talk about that shortly, but we let go of Ty Zentner there. And then we released Greedy Williams, who does not have to go through the waiver process because, well, he has played for over 4 years. So he is a vested veteran. And look, we talked about this. These younger guys on the Eagles roster, they were doing a lot better. So no surprise there. But let's take a gander now at each and every one of these guys that the Eagles signed here. All 5 of them. We'll start it off with the interior defensive linemen. Then we'll talk about those linebackers. But a familiar face to start us off here, Marvin Wilson, been on and off this roster and practice squad for the last couple of years. He was undrafted free agent in 2021 by the Cleveland Browns. They signed him that year, and then we brought him on our roster that year as well. And as I said, he's been off and on there, but I'm a fan of Marvin Wilson, out of Florida State. We talked about, what he did at Florida State. And he's one of those guys that we talk about that build, and I think for me, I'll show you one last time, but he's got that 300-pound, there's like the 280 guys, the 300, and then like the 320 plus. And he's one of those 300-pound guys that can play so many different techniques. And at, Florida State here, he did pretty well. 9.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 5 passes deflected to go on his 110 tackles, 15 for a loss there. And he only started in 19 games, so less than half of the games he played. But I really like Marvin Wilson's game. He adds to that defensive tackle rotation there. We'll take a look at the full room here shortly, but I'm a fan of his game, and I'm happy he was brought back, so he adds some competition there for this final preseason game. Don't want to be getting any of our young guys hurt. Noah Ellis now, waived with the injury designation, so we need more bodies, and apparently we're adding 3. The second guy, Caleb Sanders out of South Dakota State. Ooh, this jackrabbit here, 6'1", 280. This is a guy in that 280 range that we talk about, and I think he's got that kind of, Milton Williams, Moro Ajomo kind of mold where he's a quicker, faster, but big guy, and he can move bodies around. And, he's got no experience here. He was undrafted this season, but bringing him in for some competition, and best of luck to the young man. Now, the third defensive tackle, another completely different defensive tackle. This guy, well, he's one of those nose tackles, that 320 plus we talk about. And, we have, starters that are all those different molds. And now you're trying to get backups, but you don't even want your backups to get hurt. We saw how injuries happen. So you bring in some young guys that are going to play some preseason. Maybe they show you something, you like it, you put them on the practice squad. That's what these additions are about. But 23 years old, 6'2", 335. And look, he was with Seattle here to start this offseason here. He was an undrafted kid out of Florida State, but man, this kid is fun to watch. I was a fan. I like watching Florida State. So Robert Cooper, he's somebody with his size. They talk about he could, add some strength. He could try to get stronger there, upper body, but his lower body, he's a very, for his size, 330 plus there. The way he moves, his athleticism, I'm a fan of Robert Cooper. So adding him to this roster, that's pretty cool. This is a nose tackle, that only had 2.5 sacks, but those guys aren't really getting sacks. They're clogging up, a couple lanes there. That's that zero shade. That's that one tech guy. He is that nose tackle that's going to take up 2 gaps, and he's going to, eat people. And that allows other guys to get to the quarterback. That helps against the run. So, look, maybe he's a diamond in the rough. I have no idea, but best of luck to him in the NFL. But, it didn't pan out for him in Seattle. Now to the linebackers here, starting off with Quinton Bell, and he's got some NFL experience here. He was actually a 7th-round draft pick in 2019, pick 230 there by Oakland, and he went on to play with Tampa Bay, getting himself a ring there. I think he was maybe a practice squad member, but still getting one. Atlanta Falcons most recently, but 27 years old, 6'4", 253. And look, he's got a crazy skill set. He used to play a defensive end, and I think that, he came into the NFL because of that skill set. I think he's kind of a tweener, trying to figure out what to do with him. But look, the Eagles, with that multiple scheme defense, you never know. So the Prairie View A&M Panthers proud alum, Quinton Bell here. Look, he started 13 games, but here's the crazy thing. This dude used to play wide receiver for the first 3 seasons there in college, and then he moved to defense. So played defensive end, but in the NFL, trying to play him as a linebacker. And again, he's been in the league for a few years now, but hasn't really done anything in the NFL to where we're talking about it. So, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. He had 1 tackle for a loss, and he's had 3 tackles total. That's what he's done in the NFL. That's why you're not seeing these NFL stats. Same for Marvin Wilson, who's got 2 tackles in the NFL. So, and this guy, I think he's got 7 tackles in the NFL, but I'm going to show you the college stats because, that gives you a better idea. But Maddox-Williams is the other linebacker that the Eagles added here, and he was an undrafted free agent out of Rutgers last season. He's got 1 year experience there with the Chargers. And look, this is somebody 6 foot, 228, a little bit smaller, but he's got that ideal mold for what we kind of do here. And he's got 6'6" speed here, flies around the ball. I like his game as well. So these are project pieces. There's a reason, they're not on a team, but you never know what you could find in the right system with the right coaching. So this is that time in these preseason games, the final ones where you're getting all these, late additions here and, guys deep into the depth chart. They're getting the most playing time. And, you hope that you avoid injury, but what you're trying to see is, which of these young guys can be your depth pieces, which guys can be on that practice squad. And, that's what these guys are going to try to do very quickly because they've got 10 days until that 1 cut down period from 90 to 53. So, but let's take a gander here at Maddox-Williams. His stats at Rutgers, started 27 games out of 52 there, 203 tackles, 14.5 for loss. I think he played 5 seasons there because of COVID happened. He got injured in 2017, which is a very long time ago, but you see 14.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumbles recovery, and 7 passes deflected. Guy gets around, man. He's pretty damn fast, as I said, that 4.6 speed. He's got that new mold of linebacker, right? He's not exactly a big dude, but, that's something we use here. We've had Kaiser White. You brought in Morrow. You've got these guys that, are former safeties and stuff. They've got the speed, the athleticism, and, well, that's what you're looking for in this defense. But that was your look at all 5 of the players that we added, but there were 5 positions that were affected, even though you only saw 2 positions there. So let's take a look at these updated positions now. And clearly with, Tyree Cleveland being waived there, that has us down to 11. And we've talked about this a million times. Look, I don't know that we keep 5 receivers. And if we do, maybe it's Covey. Maybe Nada shows out, Deion Kane. Somebody decides to really do something here at the end. But, look, it's going to be intriguing to see, but unfortunate because Tyree Cleveland was doing very, very well. So best of luck to him. Hope he heals up there. Now, that was the only thing on offense that changed. Now on defense, those defensive tackles, the interior defensive linemen here, I have Ajomo now as a lock with the top 4 guys. And after that, man, we've talked about it. I think Tuipulotu should make it. And I think Street could force them to maybe want to keep 7. I mean, I know that sounds insane, but the Eagles kept like 12 last year when it came to offensive line overall with interior and the edge rushers. So, look, that's why they're bringing in competition. They want a deep room here, and Sagapulo, and now the newest additions, Marvin Wilson, Robert Cooper, and Caleb Sanders will all be battling it out for, you've got 6 guys there trying to fight for maybe 1-2 spots. So going to be intriguing to watch this final game, how these big guys do in the middle there. And now linebacker, a position, people still pretty concerned about. You lose Sean Bradley. I mean, he's a special teamer. He's really not going to help you on defense. Love the guy. But that's why you bring in Cunningham and Jack regardless when he was still healthy. So you've got competition there. I've talked about it. I think Cunningham is the guy that makes this team and could possibly start. But, you keep a veteran with those 3, I think, are locks in Dean, Ellis, and Morrow. And maybe Morrow doesn't make the squad. But I think, to me, he's the kind of guy you want. And now you add Quinton Bell and Tyreek Maddox-Williams, and those are their numbers. Yeah, Bell has to rock that 74 for the last game, so that's awesome. That'll look weird. But anyways, you have some competition here. Obviously, it's not exactly guys people have been mentioning, Patrick Queen, things like that, but we talk about it. Look, man, Howie's not going to pay money to certain positions. I think Nakobe Dean's going to do great, and whoever's next to him, whether it's Ellis, Morrow, Cunningham, I think, we'll be all right there. So I'm not too concerned, but bringing in some back-end help, maybe these guys can hit the practice squad if they're not on the roster or they get claimed by someone else. Now, to the cornerbacks. This position, we talk about how loaded it is. Unfortunate. Zach McPhearson looking to be the backup to Avonte Maddox at the nickel cornerback. He tears his Achilles, will be out for the season. Man, that really sucks. But we talked about how deep this is. Now, I thought the top 6, well, one of them was McPhearson. Ringo was definitely making this squad. I think Joe was definitely making this squad. So now you're back to 5. And the question was, do we keep 7? But now it is, who's going to be 6? And could we keep 7? I think, Goodrich has really shown out this camp. He actually looked pretty good last year as an undrafted free agent out of Clemson. But you've got Mekhi Garner, who's been looking pretty good, the undrafted kid out of LSU, and Ricks, the undrafted kid out of Alabama. So you've got a lot of talent here. Scott, not so sure. I mean, he's a versatile piece, helps you. But you've got a lot of guys like that here now. But still 9 guys battling it out. And looks to be 4 here battling it out for 1, maybe 2 positions. And final thing that was affected that Aaron Sippos, the only punter on the roster now. All right, something better happened here. Or okay, I guess they just feel comfortable with Aaron Sippos. Lord help me. But yeah, that's the way they're going here. So please God, I hope you improve, stay healthy, whatever needs to happen. But yeah, we got rid of Ty Zentner, so now it's just one punter. But I'm still not putting him as a lock. If it's that bad still, then we need to see somebody come in here, a veteran, and just take the job because we cannot afford. Nope, no more bad punting. But to finish it off here, let's take a look at the updated depth chart now with those guys gone and the added pieces. So at wide receiver, you're just seeing Tyree Cleveland is now gone. The offense, still the same offense here, loaded with talent. Very, very excited about this offense. And the same can be said for this defense. Again, I have 12 positions listed here just to be able to show you the 5-man fronts and also 4-man fronts with the nickel cornerback. But you can see the nickel cornerback, Mario Goodrich, Josiah Scott, and you got guys like Garner and Ricks. Job can play inside as well. So versatility is the name of the game, so you don't have to have either just Goodrich or Scott behind Avonte. That's just where I have them in. But look, some competitions here at the end. We'll see who wants to take these jobs. But at safety, you got competition all over the board. But linebacker, you added 2 guys here. Now you've got 8 battling it out. So we'll see here how that plays out. And then you can see the interior linemen there where I added these guys in. And we got some big boys in there competing. One of the two below 2, not so much a big boy, but he's got the skill set to play the nose. And a lot of these guys do. With this multiple scheme, it really depends on, what scheme you're talking about that, they're playing. Some schemes you're not wanting them as that 0 tech, 1 tech. You don't want that. So I think, there's so much versatility here. It gets me pretty excited. I still think this is going to be a top 3 offense and a top 3 defense. Very excited about the Eagles. The one thing that concerns me, well, the special teams, and it really didn't get to change much, only than deleting Zentner, and I forgot to take Cleveland off, but you get it. It could be 6,000 names down there instead of Cleveland. The Eagles trying everybody out. Justin Evans, Zach McPhearson was getting some. Okay. And you had Trey Sermon as kick returner. But I have not seen anyone unseat Scott or Covey yet, so they're there. But you can see the new additions. Olamide Zaccheaus, Rashad Penny, who I believe will help at receiver and running back. Why not have them help you as the return man? And you don't have to keep, those other guys there that are just, I liked Covey as a punt returner at the end of the year, but do you keep him for a roster spot just because he's a punt returner when Olamide can do it? And then Boston, I think he makes his roster, but is he, the guy that you want to be the kick returner? He gets it done, but he's not like blowing the roof off. Rashad Penny had 7 return touchdowns at San Diego State. So for me, why not try some of these veteran pieces out back here as the return man? But we'll find all that out within the next 10 days. We've got 22 days until the season begins. So excitement in the air. But if you got anything from this, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. You can always subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking. You can always join us live. We're always talking birds in these parts. So I appreciate you all. Hope you're having a great weekend. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there. And as always, say it with me at home now, go Birds!